Whenever we are spraying or sanding or demoing drywall, we will need to set up a plastic containment wall to keep the dust and fumes from spreading into the rest of the client's house. When spraying, all the overspray that doesn't make it onto the surface dries in the air and becomes a super fine dust that then settles on everything. So it's super important to seal all of this in. We use this plastic here to make the wall. It unfolds to be 12 feet long, so it can reach the height of almost any ceiling. The first thing you do is roll out a length of the plastic and lay it down on the floor roughly along the perimeter of where you will be setting the wall up. In this case, I am only spraying that white door, so I'm giving myself just enough room to comfortably walk around it. And I am making the wall include the patio door so that I can leave that open and have some airflow. Don't cut the plastic yet, leave the end still attached to the roll. To hold the wall up, we have these special poles. They have 3 sliding lengths that can be adjusted by twisting them to unlock, then pulling them in or out, and then twisting again to lock it. The top part is on a spring so that you can compress it against the ceiling to give pressure and hold the wall up. To hold the plastic up, drape it around the top of the pole, leaving about a foot hanging over. Then pin it against the ceiling and extend the pole until it reaches the floor. While compressing the spring against the ceiling so that there's enough pressure, twist the pole to lock it in place. Keep going along the length of the wall, adding more poles to hold it up. The distance between poles depends on how long your wall is and how many poles you have. In this case, I have lots of poles and the wall isn't too big, so I'm doing 1 pole every 6 feet or so. Keep the plastic as tight as possible between each pole. Try not to let it sag down in the middle, as this could cause problems later on when we tape it. I try and place the first and last pole about a foot away from a wall to make it easy to seal it to the wall with tape. Once all the poles are up, I go around and tuck the plastic under the bottom of the poles. Because the plastic is 12 feet long and most ceilings are only 8 feet high, you will have plenty extra. I push the poles upwards against the spring at the top, and rolling the excess plastic, I tuck it under and release the pole to hold it in place. While doing this, I also want to keep the wall as taut as possible. If there's a lot of slack, the wall will billow and flap around as the air pressure in the house changes. Keeping it tight makes for a much better wall. You can see me going around to both the tops and bottoms of the poles, making adjustments and pulling all the slack out of the plastic. With that done and the plastic nice and tight, we can tape the bottom down. As with any masking, using the longest lengths of unbroken tape as possible is always the most efficient. Make sure you don't miss any spots that could allow the dust to escape. After taping the floor, we can tape the sides to the walls. This is another opportunity to make the plastic tighter. I like to put a piece of tape at the top and then the bottom to hold it all tight in place, then fill in the middle afterwards. Just like with the floors, make sure you don't leave any holes that could let dust or paint fumes escape. When taping to the ceiling, make sure to use green tape. If you remember from the masking video, ceiling paint is often cheaper and weaker, so we use the less sticky green tape to decrease the chances of ripping the paint off. In this kitchen, the ceiling opens up to a taller height on the right side of the room, but for the sake of this demonstration, just imagine it's all the same height, as that is what most cases will be. As you can see, I did the entire ceiling in one unbroken length of tape. This is ideal as not only is it quicker, but it leaves fewer weak spots that could peel off a bit and let the fumes out. After I'm done, I go back and make sure there are no spots that have opened up or didn't get taped correctly, and fix them. On some ceilings, mostly textured ones, it may be necessary to go back and add a second or even third row of tape as it doesn't stick very well to the texture. Finally, with all that done, we will need to add an entrance. We use a special zipper that is made just for this. Peel off the paper from the back of the zipper to reveal the sticky side. Only peel off the first foot or so, then stick it to the containment wall, about 6 or 7 feet off the ground. Working your way down little by little, continue to peel off the backing paper and stick the zipper to the wall. When all that is done, we unzip the zipper and using an X-Acto knife, cut an opening down the middle. I then tape the top so that the opening doesn't continue to rip upwards. We now have an entrance to our workspace. Be sure not to accidentally leave this open, even a little bit, while you're spraying, as the dust will escape very quickly.